Do you remember the Pets.com sock puppet? Man, memories of this guy buried deep in the brain here. Pets.com was a website that sold various pet-related items, which you could make the comparison of like the pet brand Chewy of today. And in 1999, they premiered this sock puppet as its mascot, which was actually created by the same agency that came up with the Taco Bell Chihuahua back in the day. And this sock puppet had a pretty simple mishmashed look with buttons for eyes, a watch for a collar, and this just raggedy looking texture. And he was actually voiced by Michael Ian Black. And the commercials featuring this puppet, which also just didn't have a name, mainly consisted of interacting and interviewing different pets.
Oh wow, you cats hit the jackpot! There's enough food here to feed a lion. Did you know that Pets.com delivers food, treats, and toys? Wow, he's got a stuffed thing. I love stuffed things.
And the introduction of this guy was a great success for the brand, really getting its name out there, having him be featured on various talk shows, and even having a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1999. And they even made ones you could purchase, which I have right here. And I actually did have one of these when I was younger. This is just a different one I found on Facebook Marketplace, but it literally looks exactly like him. I guess that's the beauty of having just such a simple design, and you can make him act just as crazy as in the commercials. Though Pets.com, as well known as it became, really came crashing down in 2000. The business was not profitable, selling products for sometimes a third of the price it would acquire them for, just to try and acquire more customers for its cheap prices, and with the hope of making up the losses later in other ventures. However, it could just not make the business model work, and is a token example of the dot-com crash in 2000, where many people, startups, and companies would buy a domain just with an idea, get money from investors and stocks, but then never have a business model that could make any money. And after Pets.com was no more, the rights to this mascot was bought by 1-800-BAR-NONE, which would help people with auto loans, but it's just funny to see the same mascot now promoting an entirely different company. But still, Pets.com created an icon that most of us were around back then still remember, or maybe had only forgotten up until this point.